Smirky Yoke, Perky Yoke, the little goat. What's up, gang? What's that word that y'all heard on the curb, man? What's up, gang? What y'all got going on this afternoon? On this Saturday. What y'all got going on this Saturday, gang? Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. What it do? Mic check 1 2, man. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check what it do? What it do? Hold on, right quick. Hold on, right quick. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. I skipped. Okay, that'll be alright. Okay, let's go ahead and hop into it right quick. Full screen. What's up, y'all? Salute y'all, man. We're gonna hop right into this.
It appears that the family of Nolan Wells and their representatives are showing growing concerns with how parts of the investigation of Wells' death is being handled by Mississippi DA Angel Myers McIlrath. In the last 72 hours, it appears that exchanges have been made by the DA and Wells' representatives on a follow-up regarding the investigation of Wells' phone, along with body parts not presented for Wells' independent autopsy. If you can recall, when this story first broke, Wells's mother, Christine Wansley, would reveal early concerns with Nolan's phone appearing to have messages deleted due to not detecting any social media activity in his phone within 24 hours after he went missing, once it was recovered from Wells's friends. Because of this, Wells's family and their attorney, Benjamin Crump, would agree to do a joint investigation of the phone with the DA. Now, according to a new email sent out by another one of Wells's family representatives to McIlrath, they would end up calling out the latest move by the DA in an unreleased email they would receive that demanded they turn over the phone within a 48-hour period while they were not in Mississippi, which looks to go against what was originally agreed upon. In the email sent by newly appointed attorney Ahmad R. Smith, it will go on to read, Dear District Attorney McIlrath, thank you for your correspondence dated August 12, 2026. As Mississippi counsel for the Nolan Wells family, A.R. Smith Law will serve as the primary point of contact for the legal team so communications with your office can be coordinated efficiently. We agree the examination of Nolan's phone was discussed during the July 15th meeting that our team undertook to follow up concerning that process. During that discussion, however, we agreed to a jointly coordinated forensic examination of the phone that would include the use of the digital forensic lab at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, as well as FBI involvement. Subsequent correspondence with your office reflected our continued willingness to proceed through a mutually agreeable procedure. Additionally, Mr. Hertz contacted you on July 25th while traveling abroad and indicated that he would reconnect upon his return. Accordingly, our prior correspondence with your office should not be understood to suggest the legal team had been unwilling to facilitate a forensic examination of the phone. To date, Nolan's parents remain willing to facilitate an appropriate forensic examination of Nolan's phone, including FBI involvement, according to our agreement on July 15th. However, your letter sent to Eric Hertz on August 12th at 12:51 p.m. set a deadline for the Wansleys to deliver the phone to your office by August 14th at 9 a.m. This is not practicable for a number of reasons. First, the date and time you proposed provided less than 48 hours notice. Moreover, the Wansleys were outside Mississippi when your letter was sent and are not scheduled to return until after the deadline you unilaterally imposed. Second, the parties never agreed to simply deliver the phone to your office. Instead, the agreement was that we would set a mutually agreeable date and time for the phone to be examined together by your office's forensic professionals, our forensic professionals, and possibly the FBI as well. Third, the parties have not yet agreed upon a forensic protocol addressing, at a minimum, the scope and method of the examination, chain of custody, preservation of the forensic
Hey, y'all,
extraction, access
get
to
me the
resulting
50 likes
forensic
right
data,
fast, gang.
treatment of
Everybody double tap that
information
screen for
outside
me.
the agreed scope,
Let's go.
retention of the extraction, and return of the device. We are prepared to promptly address those logistics so that the examination can proceed while preserving the integrity of the evidence and the interests of all concerned. Please send us your proposed protocol as soon as possible. As soon as the protocol is agreed on, we will be able to schedule the forensic examination of phone immediately. With respect to the independent investigation, the legal team has reviewed the tips received and has followed up with the persons whose information appeared relevant. At present, that process has not identified additional witnesses whom the legal team reasonably believes possesses information germane to potential criminal activity that warrants referral to your office. We continue to follow up and vet these potential witnesses. At present, the family is not requesting that any additional document, recording, photograph, digital media, report, or other material in the legal team's possession be submitted to the grand jury. This response should not be understood as representation concerning privilege, confidentiality, attorney work product, expert, or other protected materials, nor as undertaking a continuing production obligation beyond what the law requires. Regarding Dr. Mitchell, we appreciate that you will make available Nolan's body parts that were not previously sent to Dr. Mitchell. As reflected in your July 29th correspondence, your office previously stated that Dr. Mitchell would have an opportunity to examine Nolan's complete body in advance of any grand jury testimony. At this time, Dr. Mitchell's requests that you provide 3 available dates in which he can examine the body parts that he was not able to access. We are prepared to move that process forward promptly through counsel. Thank you for following up with us regarding the threats and intimidation against Nolan's family. We have collected information from the family and will be sending that information to your office in the near future. The family and legal team remain committed to a careful and complete investigation of the circumstances surrounding Nolan's death. We believe the most productive path forward is focused, documented cooperation on matters that will materially advance that investigation while preserving the integrity of the evidence and the legal rights and obligations of everyone involved. Now, as mentioned, this is the latest correspondence sent by Wells's family and is in connection with a previous email sent by them pushing back on any accusations that they were withholding to submit Nolan's phone for examination. On August 10th, conservative investigative journalist Sarah Fields would drop a story on Wells's family not handing over the phone in question. Fields' report will go on to say, according to a credible source with a close proximity to and knowledge of the investigation, more than 30 days after the death of Nolan Wells, his mother, Christine Wells Wansley, has allegedly not surrendered Nolan's cell phone to authorities. This is the same cell phone that became a major point of speculation almost immediately after Nolan's disappearance and death. Christine herself made Nolan's cell phone a significant part of the public suspicion. Initially, Christine said Nolan's phone was not with him on Horn Island. According to her own account, the family tracked the phone using Life 360, determined that it was back on the mainland, and had a family friend retrieve it from a friend's house. Christine then publicly discussed what she and her sister found, or more importantly, what they didn't find, when they went through Nolan's phone. She said they checked both of his Snapchat accounts and found no photos or videos from that day, because less than 24 hours had passed and Nolan was someone who normally took photos and videos while out with friends. Christine suggested that content must have been deleted. Those statements helped fuel multiple conspiracy theories and unverified rumors surrounding Nolan's phone and what may or may not have have been removed from it. Now, as noted in Smith's email and mentioned by Crump during a press conference last month, they never agreed simply to hand over the phone, but instead agreed to look at the phone together on an agreed date.
We also agreed that we would have a mutual inspection of the cell phone with our experts and their experts. Attorney Eric Hertz is helping lead the investigation team with former law enforcement experts who are going to help us with the cell phone download, so everybody would be able to see at the same time.
For those who have been following the day-by-day updates, Wells's family has not been shy to express their lack of complete trust in Mississippi officials involved in the case, hence why they are requesting to investigate Wells's phone together with everyone present. As you should know, current information gathered in the connection to the investigation by local law enforcement and Mississippi officials has been kept secret, including Wells's first autopsy results, which may give reason as to why the DA could be attempting to examine Wells's phone independently. But this appears to now have only added concerns to Wells's family and those
Salute to
following
everybody
the
in
case.
here, man.
As of this report, it has been 43 days since Wells's mysterious disappearance on July 4th.
How y'all feeling about the
Witch's
Nolan
body
Wells
would be
case,
found
gang?
2 days later
How
washed
everybody
ashore
feeling? Let
on
me know
Horn Island in
in the
Mississippi.
chat.
Let's talk about it more in the comments below. Do you think Wells's family should submit his phone to help move along the investigation, or should they continue to hold their position?
Should they
on
submit
making
the
sure they are
phone?
present when the phone
Should they
hits it?
submit the phone, gang? Should Nolan Wells family present the phone? Should they just go ahead and get the phone up? Let me know, gang. Hold on, let me get it to my boy real quick.
It's examined by the...
My bad. Alright, let's get it to my boy real quick. Should they give up the phone? Should the parents give up the phone? Y'all let me know, gang. Because a lot of people keep talking about this phone situation. Everybody got this phone, and everybody keep talking about phone. Let's get it to my boy real quick. Let's go.
We don't have a phone. It's about the evidence, nothing else.
It's savage, gang. Get the lights up for me. Let's go. I'm watching the chat.
Said from day one, even when I called Reverend Allen, we talked to him, they have been consistent. We want to know what happened to our child. Everything else is just, it's just clickbait and everything. It's about what happened to our child. Black press, NABJ, we need you now more than ever to keep everybody focused.
I want to tell you guys about Shenergy. If you're looking for an energy drink that's clean, 75 milligrams of caffeine, nootropics that help you with focus so you don't crash.
Okay. God dang, now calm down. We understand. Calm down now. All right. Let's get into what we came to get into. Stop 6. We ain't come to get into no damn energy drinks. Let's go. Get the lights up. Let's go.
Has you covered, and then we have a money back guarantee. You take the product that don't work for you, we'll get your money back.
Al Sharpton and Ben Crump hosted a presser with Nolan Wells' family. They have announced that they would like the FBI to get involved in the case.
Those seeking truth and accountability in the Nolan Wells case have every right to continue asking questions and demanding answers, because we are America and we have a right to the First Amendment. That includes Black people and all people. I want to keep an open mind. I know there have been several attacks on us just for asking questions, and it's okay.
I know, Greg. We covered that yesterday. We covered it yesterday.
Heroes, the governor's predecessors, they attacked, Ida B. Wells, Medgar Evers, my personal hero, Thurgood Marshall, Dr. Martin Luther King, for saying that we're going to stand up for Black life and Black humanity and the right to Black people to have the Constitution applied to them as American citizens. So I'm unapologetic in my defense of Black life, Black liberty, and Black humanity. God has a calling on all our lives. And when you figure out what that calling is, you don't second guess it. You say, God, I know why I put on this earth, to be there, to stand up for our people in times when they have nobody else to stand up.
Everybody in here smash the like button for me, gang. Double tap the screen.
Mississippi or anywhere else in the
we only at 6 likes. Everybody double tap the screen right quick.
I heard they discriminate against black people in the South. He said, I guess my definition of the South would be anything beneath the Canadian border. Because last time I checked, they discriminate against black people all across America. And so what we're saying is we are open-minded. We want to trust them, but we can't be naive. We have to verify everything, as Attorney Hurt said. Whatever conclusions you come to, we want the methodology. Whatever investigation you're doing, we want to know that it's the same investigation that you would do for your child. Not treat Nolan any differently. That's what we're trying to do. That's all we're asking.
Officer Tatum, do you have any thoughts about that? And keep in mind, this presser comes after we have just found out that Nolan's phone has not been given to authorities, just so you're aware. I'm sure you are, but just so the audience is aware of the timeline.
Yeah, it sounds like a script that I would read as to what I'm doing. Like, you know, to be quite honest, outside of the woke black stuff, but trying to get to the bottom of what happened to Nolan is something that I've done, and I haven't picked a side. I'm just picking a side of facts. When I'm given information that Warren, Jax, Morgan, and none of these guys, they weren't there when Nolan passed away, meaning that either if somebody killed him or he drowned, they weren't there.
Right.
What am I supposed to do with the facts? And then I see this is what tripped me out. When I first got there, I don't know none of these people. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, I don't know why Miss Christine Wells is saying that she don't know none of us. And Ashley Cole, Warren's stepmother, who's a judge, said, me and Christine went to school together. She got pictures of her all in the yearbook together. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's so that, and then I'm like, okay, did they call? Did they try to help Nolan? Like, what? Warren shows me a phone call where he called Nolan's mother first. Mm-hmm. He showed me 2 phone calls. He called, she hung up on him because she was asleep. He called her again. She talked to him for, I don't know how many minutes. And then he called the Coast Guard. Like, they're showing me efforts that they made. Ashley Cole and a couple other parents reached out to Christine and said, hey, we would like to talk. And these are parents of some of the boys that have been accused. Mm-hmm. You would think that if you want to know what happened to your son, you want to talk to the people who last seen him.
Right.
People that have been in arguments that went viral. It's like, well, why would you just ask the kid, Tristan? Why don't you sit down and talk to him so you're not putting out information that somehow Nolan was potentially in a fight, and that never happened? They told me that when they talked to Miss Christine on the phone the first time, that they told her they had Nolan's phone and keys.
Wow.
Well, why would they say they had to use Life 360 to find the phone and keys when she had already been in contact with Warren? Mm-hmm. Those things is what, beyond just the interview, that frustrated me. And you don't hear the family or Benjamin Crump clarify any of these things. And then
salute to everybody in here.
The more recent development has been that they haven't given the phone over to law enforcement to do an extraction to determine if someone tampered with evidence. Mm-hmm. It has been over a month since Nolan has died. Why are they still making excuses of why they haven't given the phone over? They're getting ready to present their case to the grand jury, but they don't have a phone. So if there was anything illegal that happened in the phone, they don't have that to present to the grand jury.
Right.
Which is insane to me.
I agree. So why do you think they haven't turned over the phone? What's your theory?
I think from the very beginning, and I don't know if it was the family or just Benjamin Crump, they had to force a narrative so that they can raise as much money and they can begin to posture up to do a civil lawsuit, because they know that these boys potentially have money and they're going to sue them. They don't care about justice. They've not been pursuing justice. That's why they don't want to get a phone over, because it's not about justice. It's about the perception of impropriety. So what they do is they come out initially and go, things were deleted on the phone. Well, either you know that for a fact or you don't know that. That's why you need investigators to extract the phone. So it appears that if they're even entertaining investigators extracting the phone outside of their own investigation, they must need them to do something they cannot do. So to me, because you don't see posts on social is not a reason to say you believe things are deleted and put it out there to the public. And you're saying that they were the last ones with the phone. So 2 and 2 is 4. If things have been deleted from the phone, these people are the last people with the phone. They deleted stuff out of the phone, which is a crime.
Right.
And if you're gonna do those things, you know, you got to back it up with evidence. I'm hearing through the grapevine that they're not cooperating whatsoever with the prosecution. Well, not the prosecution, but with the DA. They're not really communicating with them. They're not doing any of the things that they're asking them for, which is evidence to charge people if they had done something to Nolan Wells. And the lies and the deception and the half truths that have been put out. And then this is what people don't understand, and I don't know how they missed it. The reason that the boys have attorneys, and I went back out to interview the attorney, is because they're potentially going to get sued. Christine Wells opened up an estate in Nolan's name, which is a preparation for lawsuit. And then they sent a letter to Christine, not Christine, but to Ashley Cole and a few other parents, I believe, and I saw the letter that they sent to Christine, not Christine, but Nolan, not Nolan, I'm not getting the names mixed up, to Ashley Cole, who's the judge, Warren's stepmother. I saw the letter that was sent to her, and it was like, you must preserve phone records, text messages, ponchos, boating equipment. They had a whole list of things they need to preserve in preparation to be sued.
Right. Right. Which I know.
We don't even know what has happened. Why are you prepping to sue somebody?
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, as far as Nolan Wells' phone, I was looking back at another interview that you did with Stephen A. Smith, and you mentioned the fact that Nolan Wells, I guess, parents' friend went over to one of the guys' house to retrieve the phone.
His mother didn't come get the phone. Another parent of a black kid who was out there with Nolan came to get her son's phone and Nolan's phone. So why didn't Al Sharpton or any of them ask these boys what happened, have them show evidence, and then present it to the public?
From my understanding, you said in that interview that they didn't just go to retrieve Nolan's phone, they went to retrieve the other young man's phone as well. Is that correct?
Yep, Javon.
So
it was Javon's mom and Javon. They both went to the house to get Javon's phone and Nolan's phone at the same time. Christine didn't even go to the house. It wasn't, and I'm not saying that she had to or not. It just didn't seem like at first this was such a big deal. And why don't they say that Javon's phone was on the boat too?
quickly, are y'all liking this interview? Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe button. Let's get back into it. The reason why I bring that up is because from my understanding, Javon is mixed. He's another black young man. So why was that not included in the initial report to the public? Ben Crump is making it seem as though this is about, Nolan being the only black kid and he was with 3 other white young men, which we know that there's more to that story. But I'm sure that the family and Ben Crump knew all along that when the friends went over to retrieve that phone, that it wasn't just Nolan's phone that they were retrieving. They were retrieving another black person's phone. Why was that not mentioned?
Exactly. They go, well, why did they have his phone? Well, why did they have Javon's phone? Why did they have his phone too? Why was there 3 other people's phone on the boat that was left? They could have called them and talked to them, and they could have given them an explanation. They would have said, Miss Christine, there was multiple people who left their phone on our boat. Here is why we had to leave early. Here is what I saw. And she can juxtapose that to other evidence that she's found, and they can come out with a determination to tell the public because they want the public to actually find out or help find out what happened to Nolan. When you are making accusations that you know are not true, when you're insinuating that people have deleted things from the phone, and you have every reason to believe is not true, like my whole question, did he have a password on the phone?
Right. Yeah.
Well, if he did, then we have to assume that the boys knew his password. But why wouldn't they articulate that they broke into his phone and deleted things?
Exactly. And I
wonder,
totally.
I wonder now. The one thing that I wonder is that has the family even got into the phone? Because think about this for a minute. If Nolan had a password on the phone, which the boys claim we don't even know his password, we couldn't even get to his phone if we wanted to. So if he had a password on his phone, and what if his mother didn't know his password? My mama don't know my password.
Right.
I mean,
I mean,
she's
come
not in my
on.
phone all the time.
I keep
And what
asking
if
this. Do y'all mother know the password to y'all phone? Y'all let me know. If y'all mother still living in this chat, do they know the password to y'all phone? My mama know the password to mine. I ain't gonna lie. If something happened to me, she knows the password to my phone. I ain't gonna cap. I'm just gonna be honest. She knows the password to mine, so she can get in mine. Yeah, y'all need to listen, gang. This need to be a wake up call. Then all the people saying no, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest, gang. I'm gonna be honest, gang. I'm gonna be honest. For the people that said no, you need to let your mama know or your daddy or whoever close to you know the password to your phone. So anything happen, Lord forbid, Lord forbid, Lord forbid. But I'm just saying, gang, just in case. Just in case, it ain't even gotta just be your mama. Let somebody close to you know that password just in case they need that phone for some information. Look at how this shit here going. Look how this going. I'm just being honest, gang. I'm just being honest, man. Let somebody know you now. You ain't got too much in that damn phone. Nobody don't damn know about. What, we ain't even gonna talk about the coin sites. I know a lot of y'all look at coin. Your mama them used to that. She know you look at coin. Was that what you trying to hide from her? She know you. Come on, man. I ain't even gonna. I ain't gonna die. I ain't gonna die too deep in it. I ain't gonna die. I ain't finna die too deep in it. Y'all better stop playing with me. Y'all better stop playing with me for real. Y'all better stop playing with me. All right, let's go. That turn me up. All right, turn me up. Let's go.
He insinuated these things because they didn't see him post on Snapchat from other people's Snapchats. And they said, oh, we're assuming or saying things have been deleted, and they haven't even looked through the phone. And I think that could be why they don't want to give it over to investigators, because the investigators are going to say, well, we had to break through the phone because we didn't have the passcode. And mom didn't give us the passcode. Nobody knew the passcode,
Hold
so we
up,
had
bro.
to breach the phone
Hey,
without a
hold
passcode.
up.
And then there was nothing there. And that a devastating blow to the family, in my opinion. I hope that that's not true. But with what else has been going on, I question it.
So everybody want to talk about the phone. Phone. Can we get along? Huh? Phone. Can we get along? Yeah. This is crazy work, gang. This is crazy work. I'm being. Let's go. Let's get into this right here. We got another one. Let's go. Oh man, we got plenty of stuff to get into. We finna crank this bit up another level. We finna really crank it up now. I'll be on the game.
Not traced, and who's a black kid?
Let's go.
Obviously, black kid. It's not like he has to tell you that he's a black kid. Warren, is it true that he actually called Nolan's mother to tell her that Nolan was missing and that he was going to call the Coast Guard?
Yes, he showed me the phone record. We actually posted on our Instagram the phone record. He showed me in his phone where he called Miss Christine first. She didn't answer the first time. He had a second call, and I think because she was asleep. He had a second call with her where the duration of the call was about 5 to 8 minutes. He talks to her on the phone, and he told me during that call that he told her, hey, we haven't seen Nolan. Don't panic. You know, we think that he may be hanging out with friends or whatever, but just in case, is it okay if I call the Coast Guard? So he told me he got permission from Christine, that, Nolan's mom, that he could call the Coast Guard. Then he showed me the call log where immediately after that call, it couldn't have been a minute or two after the call, he calls the Coast Guard. And he also showed me that him and the rest of the boys got up the next morning, got on a boat, and went out looking for Nolan. He also told me that he told Christine, Nolan's mother, that he had Nolan's phone and keys. And so when that information is presented to me, it creates a conflict in the story where he's actually showing me evidence. I haven't been able to see any evidence from the other side.
Context. When did he call Christine? When did it become a concern to Warren and maybe other friends that they didn't know where Nolan was?
Well, he explained it thoroughly in the interview, but I'll summate it real quick.
People should watch the interview. Brandon Tatum is a very well-known influencer. You know how to get to his page. The interviews are all there and accessible. But give us the short answer.
I think it was around 10 p.m. And the explanation that he gave me was that Nolan was hanging out with that girl, Katie. So they expected Nolan to be kicking it with her, hitch a ride back on somebody else's boat. They all plan to go to a central location to continue the party. But Nolan is not there. The girl that he was with shows up, but Nolan is not around. So he's now being concerned. He told me he thought Nolan may have been on somebody's couch or hanging out with somebody else. He said he didn't really know, but he'd rather be safe than sorry. So he said he wanted to call his mom before he called the Coast Guard. And he wanted to call her first and get her permission. And that's what he explained to me. And and like I said, he shared the text messages. So I think it was like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. on the 4th.
How do you understand the leap from curiosity to such deep concern? Because, all right, so I thought you were with her. You're not there. So first thing I would do is go up to her and say, where's my boy? Now, failing that, it's, well, I wonder where he is. Let's talk to other people who might know. Why go right to the Coast Guard?
Yeah, the way he explained it in the interview is that he'd rather be safe than sorry. He said they started getting information from that nobody knows where he's at, right? Mm-hmm. None of the friends that they came back with.
Hold up, is y'all buying? Hold up, wait. Is y'all buying this game?
They're contacting friends. They're asking the girl Katie, which he showed me the text message.
Katie?
I didn't want to publish them without actually talking to her, interviewing her to give her context.
Yeah, I know that was a concern of yours, that you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to talk to her because.
But I see her text messages and asking her, when the last time you saw Nolan? Where is Nolan? Did you know who he's with? What did he get on another boat? They asking her all these questions. They're trying to find out, does anybody know where Nolan is at? And what he told me in the interview is that people, they drown out there. People die out there on that island. So there was a concern.
I'm saying so.
Told me that he thought Nolan may have been just couch surfing, hanging out with some girl or something of that nature.
Oh,
and
man.
Not, wanted to respond the next day, but he said he did not want to. He better be safe than sorry because that's his friend. And he couldn't live with himself if something had happened and he never did anything.
From your read on the text, was Katie forthcoming?
Stuff happened like that. Why they went?
Yeah, it appears she was forthcoming. It appeared that she had gaps in her memory. Obviously, these kids out here.
Bump that guy.
So I think she didn't
bump that.
Clear.
Hold up, wait.
That
So did they know about this island before they went? Did they know this island was dangerous before they went? If they knew this island was dangerous, why did they go? This is what I don't understand. If y'all saying that this island was dangerous, why did y'all go? What made y'all go? If y'all knew this, one thing about me, if I knew it's dangerous somewhere, that's just like a club. I don't go. That's why I don't go to the club, because I know what goes on at the club. When I know it's dangerous somewhere, I'm not going. I'm not going. I don't care what you say about me. Oh, that boy, that's scary. He don't pop out like that. Nah, I want to live, nigga. I got kids. I ain't trying to be no innocent bystander. What are you talking about? Stop playing with me, man. Man, you know what? Let's get back to this. Because I'm about to get mad.
Gives some
I'm be
idea
honest.
of whether the boys were telling the truth. Because you got to think, I'm looking at a text message where they don't know each other. Mm-hmm. And they're asking her questions and she's giving them responses with somebody she don't know and they don't know her, so it's not coerced. And she said that she heard them yell Nolan get on the boat. She said Nolan did not get on the boat, and Nolan did not get on the boat he came in on, which would have been Wyatt's boat that was getting towed out. But then she goes on to say, she had a gap in her memory, and she don't know what happened to Nolan afterwards. She thought he was going to go with his friends, but he never did.
So he didn't stay and hang out with her, as far as you know.
As far as what she said, he didn't. Other people are saying, which they could be conflating her with another girl. I'm not sure. But people are saying closer to around 6, they saw him and another girl.
Not her.
In the water. They don't know. They don't know if it's Katie or not. I don't think the people who saw him knew who he was with, but he was with a girl. I assumed that it was Katie, but Katie is saying she wasn't with him. So one or two things could be true. Either that was her, she either don't remember or she don't want to be the last person seen with him, or it was another person altogether that nobody has been able to identify yet.
And again, context, this isn't just the two of them alone
Hold up,
on a
man.
remote island. There was still a ton of
You
people.
hold up. You said they love to go boating. I'm gonna entertain your question real quick. A sign isn't going to stop us from enjoying our life. You right. And that's why a lot of people ain't gonna be able to enjoy it, because they ain't gonna listen to the motherfucking signs. Excuse me, you know what? Excuse me, YouTube. They ain't gonna listen to the signs. That's why a lot of people gonna be in the grave, because they ignore the signs. So it is what it is. I can't make you listen to the signs. That's on you. You ain't gotta listen to the signs. If he said they knew that was a dangerous island before they went, why go? Let somebody ask me, hey bro, you want to go out there to Horn Island? Hey, but you know it's dangerous out there. Everybody agreed to still fucking go. Come on, man.
Look at pictures of that day.
What that dude said on Friday? What he said? Hundreds and fifties, big ass titties. Count this. What he say? Count this green. Get in between those. Let's have this party, yo. That's what they did. Let's go.
Pictures that have been shared with us, pictures from people that did a flyover. It appeared that there was hundreds of people out there.
Right.
Now, there are pockets where there's boat clusters, and then there's areas where there's not clusters. So you could probably get to a spot where there's not as dense of a group of people. But from my understanding and what I've seen, it seemed like that place was packed with people. I mean, they told me it was thousands of people there, and there was hundreds of boats scattered throughout the almost 11 miles of the island. So there was tons of people. So in my estimation, they had been either close to other people, unless they snuck off in a place where they were a little more isolated. But my question that I still have is that I'm questioning, how did somebody not see what happened here? I think there's a possibility that things could have happened and nobody saw. That is a possibility. But with all those people out there, it makes me wonder, did somebody see something and they're afraid to say something?
Or have they said something to the authorities and they just don't want to keep saying it, right, because they don't want to become part of the mythology that's out there on social media. But, to paraphrase even the parents, saying somebody saw something. Unless he went to the island and ran away, and did something to, to conceal himself, whether he was with a girl or otherwise, somebody saw something, Brandon.
Yeah, I think at least somebody saw him alive last. Mm-hmm. Whether he dashed off, some things that they had made mention was that some people try to, they got to use the restroom. They'll kind of duck off away from people to try to go to the restroom, so they're not urinating in front of everybody, having a good time in the ocean. And so sometimes people do duck off and they go off and it's a drop off. Like it's a part where you can walk and then it drops 30 feet. So nobody knows what happened to him, but some of the things that people may consider is that could he have gone off to use the restroom or something, dropped in the water? From what the boys told me, there's a lot of music playing. It's loud. You can barely hear each other talk if you're in a cluster of boats because they're playing music loud. And it's like a party. Mm-hmm. And so there could have been a possibility that he snuck off, he drowns, nobody hears him because there's a lot of commotion, people are drunk, there's partying going on, or somebody could have done something to him. And this is what I will say. They interviewed 60 people. All of the boys that I talked to were forthcoming. They have communicated with law enforcement, and they haven't made an arrest yet. That leads me to believe that either this is inconclusive and they don't have enough evidence, or maybe nobody saw anything nefarious, but they may have saw, Nolan go out and drown. And I can't imagine that the information that they have is that Nolan drowned and they won't tell the public. I don't know why they would do that, but I can see it happening because they have to do due diligence and take it to a grand jury.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. I think the answer why is it didn't go well when they came out of the box with a statement. Yeah. The prosecutor took it over and said, I'm taking it to the grand jury, which is supposedly what she does. And that's a secret proceeding. And they want to give it all to the grand jury, let them make the determination. So I guess on the political side, she doesn't have to own it the same way, right? It's not her determination. It's not the prosecutor's determination. It's the grand jury's determination whether there's probable cause here or not. And then they can release the findings. I mean, that's probably the best reason why they're not saying anything in the interim.
And Chris, is the most appropriate reason. It's just the public don't understand this. They will appreciate us after, right? During the situation, people are very upset because they don't have information. Some categorize it either through ignorance or because they're nefarious. They categorize this as somehow the police are hiding something. This is traditional status quo of what law enforcement does so they can be methodical and very clear and confident in their rulings and leave no stone unturned. Because if you begin to divulge information, you can mess up a case, and then therefore he'll never get justice, and then the family will be mad at them because they screwed over the case. And this is why they didn't release the autopsy. And this is the reason why I'm very frustrated with Benjamin Crump, because they should have never released the autopsy publicly. This is something that they should have done. I think they should have done it privately without notifying the world, because then everybody else that's potential suspects or somebody that want to be nefarious about things wouldn't even know what's going on. Therefore, they can strategically have a second opinion. And then if the state comes out and says something that's not true, they have their ace in the hole. And also, you don't want to put that out there to the public, because then you begin to describe elements of a crime. And therefore, if there's any pending suspects, they can overcome an interview by knowing what the cops know and know. And you don't want to do that. That can taint the investigation.
Hey, what's up, Dan?
If I was
salute everybody in here, man.
Benjamin Crump is doing this to get highlight the case and to make money.
Hey, can y'all get me to 100 likes real quick?
Family,
everybody double tap that screen.
Not make it public. Show the family.
What a super chat. What a gifts.
Medical examiner explain it to the family so they're very clear at what he did.
Y'all said y'all. Hold up. Wait.
I think
I gotta turn to P off baby boy? I told y'all the motto. Y'all said y'all love me. Y'all said I could stay here. Bought me all these fly clothes, video games. All right, bet. All right, I see what's going on. I see what's going on.
It's incredible.
Right,
that he didn't even have a medical examiner explain it.
I see what's
going on. He went out on his own, and he has no idea what he's even talking about. He can't even pronounce some of the words, and so that was convoluted in and of itself.
Well, the second autopsy was going to be compromised. They collected tissue, they collected and kept parts of the body, which is not unusual in an investigation. So anyone who looked at it second wasn't going to have the same access as the people who looked first, and there'd be further decomposition, hard to make a read on them. It was going to be highly inconclusive, no matter what. And there are competing agendas, Brandon. I mean, there's no reason to hide from it. You know, I'm watching clips of the mother on Don Lemon's show. And, you know, he's pushing on them that, hey, they're saying he's drunk. And they're like, no. He talked to one of his coaches, wasn't a big drinker. They said he was in a 2, 5, or 3. This stuff about alcohol is just a distraction. I mean, they're competing here.
No, I agree. And the unfortunate thing is that Nolan's not the center of the competing agendas in many cases. Nolan should be the center. We should be talking about and lifting up Nolan's success and everything about his life and celebrating Nolan. That's what we should be talking about. The investigation and all that other stuff that people got going on should be behind the scenes.
Your client was there that day, was not an intimate, was not part of the group that has been framed as being framed meaning pictured with Nolan Wells. He was on the boat. He was heard. He was witnessed assisting his buddies who had a problem with water getting into their boat. They called CETO during that call. There is now a version of the call that seems to depict a chaotic scene happening at the same time as the caller's calm, kind of pro forma phone call with Cito, which is an assistance service for boaters, about him taking on water. Your client wound up fixing that problem for them. But first, what has been alleged by these accounts that you are monitoring about the involvement of your client?
Yeah, so let me back up and just clarify when we say the boat, that could be confusing to some people. I mean, there were hundreds of boats that were out near Horn Island that day, hundreds of people that were out on Horn Island that day celebrating the 4th of July. It's a big holiday weekend. Within a sort of confederacy of friends, there were 3 boats that went out. One of them was piloted by my client, who piloted the boat out and then back to his house. At no point was Nolan Wells, the young man who tragically lost his life, on my client's boat. Around 4:30 that afternoon, one of the boats experienced some problems with its bilge pump and started taking on water. One of the individuals on that boat called my client and asked for help. He proceeded to give help, in part by getting on the transom of the boat and helping to remove the plug at the back of the transom of that boat. For people that don't boat, that may not make, that may not be something they understand. But literally, they were just opening up a hole so water would drain out, is the short way of saying this. And then my client got back on the boat that he was piloting and towed the other vessel for a short distance, allowing that water to run off.
So let's go there, because that's what a podcast is about, is depth. This is completely irrelevant to the events surrounding Nolan Wells, except for this. If Brad, in quotes, or Bart, in quotes, or Billy, in quotes, because your client is referred to by multiple different names, not by you, not by him, but by people on the internet. If he was not killing Nolan Wells, what else was he doing? This is what we understand. Why would you pull the plug out of a boat? Wouldn't that make it sink? No, depends on the configuration of the hull and the placement of the plug, because sometimes, especially with smaller boats, if they're taking on water, let's say from 20 people drinking beers sitting on the back of it at a party, it can overwhelm a bilge pump that is old, not
Salute,
properly
TB.
maintained,
What's up, TB?
or has a float switch that
Salute
gets
everybody
stuck.
in there, bit.
And any of those things can happen.
Hey, y'all,
and
give me
you
to
are in
100
a
likes
bad
right
position.
fast.
However,
Let's go.
if you know what you're doing, you can pull the plug and then drag the boat so that it goes fast enough that it rises above the level of where the hole is. So instead of allowing water to come in, it allows water to drain out. And then you put the plug back in nice and quick, and you don't have water in the boat anymore, but you do have to address the bilge pump, which you do at a later time. That is an operation that a lot of boaters know, a lot of boaters can do, and that is the involvement that you are saying, counsel, your client had on that boat as it was leaving.
Yeah, that's correct. And the end result.
Are you impressed that I nailed it, by the way? Are you impressed that
Yeah, I want
nailed
to know
it?
who you've been talking to. Are you a boater?
I am a Coast Guard captain, certified, and I have been talking to all of these different people and families and people close to the investigation. And a lot of this is new vocabulary, new vernacular. A lot of people see this story very one-dimensional. Mississippi, racist, one black kid, a lot of white kids, the system protecting, and none of this boating stuff makes sense. The boat wasn't sinking. That's a lie to cover a murder. I understand boating differently. I understand investigating differently. I know the operation you're talking about. It is absolutely plausible that this is what was going on. And there are multiple witnesses who say this is exactly what they witnessed.
Well, and let's be very clear about the multiple witnesses, because I think there have been some narratives set based on pictures that are not accurate. So very early on, the narrative that was set was we had one picture with Nolan and 3 friends that are white on the back of a boat. And I think a lot of people developed the thought, okay, 4 friends went out on a boat together.
3 came back.
Only 3 came back, and they went to some desolate place. The reality is they went to a place with hundreds of people. There were way more than 4 friends. It was a mixed race group. So it wasn't just that Nolan was the only black friend in the group.
Which explains some of the pictures out there of mostly white party goers with a black guy, and they just assume if it's a black guy, Nolan, he was the only one. The pictures are not accurate. They're not even, some of them are not even from that day. And you're saying that your client says Nolan was not the only black guy.
Well, I don't know that my client is saying that. I think a lot of witnesses are saying that. I think Trayston Shepard, who is black, has said that he
Yes.
was out there. I think Javon Williams, who is black, has said that he was out there as part of that group. And look, I want to be very careful not to name people who haven't already inserted themselves by talking to media, because this is a witch hunt. I mean, at this point, any name that comes out, people assume that person is a new culpable suspect. But both of those gentlemen have chosen to talk about what happened while they were out there and to make the point that Nolan was, in fact, not the only black friend in that group.
Summer's here. If you want to actually feel confident, less bloated, more energized, not just look
So
like
is y'all
it on the
rocking with
outside,
what
but
they saying
feel it,
right now, gang, or
starts
no?
with your gut. I thought being bloated every
Is
day.
y'all rocking with what they saying or no, gang? Y'all gotta
And that
let me
have
know.
allowed people to develop a perception of what Horn Island would have looked like or what Nolan would have experienced that is in no way accurate.
Understood why you're proffering that, and consistent with what I understand of the investigation. Now, have to say, frustrating.
Hey, if you trying to
The
really
unknown
talk
is very
to,
powerful as a narrative
Hey.
device, especially within the true crime
if you really
space.
trying to get your point across to me, you want me to read it out, send it through the super chat, gang. It's on like $1.99, $2.99, whatever you choose, gang. Turn me up, gang. Support the platform, gang. Turn me up. Let's go.
Uniquely so. The investigators, since the initial, what I say in my opinion, was the wrong way to come out of the box in this situation, after that, they have said almost nothing because it's all being presented to a grand jury. That level of secrecy is rare, but is righteous. That's how it should be until the grand jury figures out whether it's going to hand up an indictment or not. And then the investigators have more of a clear path, as do anybody who wants a FOIA requester to get more information. So that is a semi-secretive proceeding. The fact that nothing's coming out is not necessarily suspicious. The early indication, I think, triggered a lot of people. I think rightly so, especially Nolan Wells' family. So one of the kids, I think it was Warren, right, makes a phone call to Cito, says, my boat's taking on water. Wyatt, sorry. Wyatt makes the phone call. He sounds calm. Well, if his boat was sinking, why was he calm? As a boater, okay, there's taking on water and there's sinking. They're different things. These guys party a lot. They know the boat well. They had a lot of people sitting on the boat. He is calm because he was calm. And it becomes very relevant in one moment. And he's talking to Cito. He says, I have an account. Why? Because Cito's going to charge you different. And they're going to come at a different rate based on whether or not you have an account and what level the account is than if you're just calling. Believe me, I know this. So, no offense to Cito, I'm a member. He is very calm, okay? Now comes this sweetened version of the audio. And a woman makes the case, and she sounds very well versed in audio editing. She did this, she did that, she did this, she did that. And then, with an adjoining transcript, there seems to be a background conversation that is of a completely different tone and tenor than the phone call from Wyatt. Wyatt, as I said, that's how he is. In the background, there seems to be a conversation, according to the transcript, yelling at this guy, Bart, and what happened to Nolan and what's going on. Nolan, wake up, and this and that. It sounds like someone's dead or dying on the boat. And it has gone all over the place. It has gone viral. That is the audio that we're talking about. Counsel Russ Latino for Bart Ermiston Jr., who is the Bart, who got on the boat to help them with the draining and towed them to let water come out of the boat. And then they were okay and they canceled the Cito call. That Bart, who was seen by people on both sides, said no conversation like that took place. Nolan Wells was not on that boat. And he had nothing to do with anything that happened to Nolan Wells, though he knew him and liked him.
Yeah, and Chris, I can add more. I saw the video of them on the boat during the phone call. Now, I presented it in part. It's the one that you see all over TMZ, all over the news. Mm-hmm. It has the Officer Tatum on it, and you see a quick glimpse of that boat. Well, I have the full video. And the only reason that I don't want to put the video out and the lawyers are against it because there's other people that's not involved in this that are featured on the video.
Was Nolan Wells on the boat?
No, he's not on the boat. And the pan, let me tell you, it's interesting, right? These kids, this is my perception for what I see on the boat. They're having a good time. I would argue that some of them are having such a good time that half of the people are concerned and half of the people don't know what's going on. There's two boats. There's the boat that Bart is running to tow, and there's the boat that Warren and them are on. And some people are having such a good time that they're like joking about it. They're not even thinking it's happening. And then you have, Warren's side or Wyatt's side where I can see Wyatt on the phone talking to Cito. Nolan is nowhere to be found. No activity is really going on the other boat.
So you don't see any corresponding activity that would suggest the urgency and the dialogue that is in the transcript of the sweetened audio?
No, there's a girl on that boat that's yelling because she's having a good time and she's screaming and she's talking loud or whatever. And I don't know if that translated to the phone call because she's on the opposite boat. And at one point in the video, the boats are together like this. Because people are trying to get on this boat to the other boat and do all that. And they're all having a good time, if you know what I'm saying. They had a good time out there. So
there is no sign of distress?
No.
There is no kind of frantic or yelling or controversy?
No, it's what the yelling that I hear on the video is people seem to have a good time. And they're yelling and saying all kind of crazy. They're laughing and
that is the moment that he is calling Cito and being towed.
It has to be some portion of it. The video that I saw was, I think it was a Snapchat that somebody had taken, or they recorded somebody's Snapchat or something like that. And it's only like 36 seconds. But in this entire video, it pans from Bart's boat. It pans around, and there's some people's faces in there that are not involved at all. And so that's kind of why we didn't put it out without their permission. And then it pans over to Wyatt's boat, which is what I released, like a 3-second thing. It pans over to Wyatt's boat, and it comes back over to Bart's boat. So you can see 99%. You can see everybody that's on Wyatt's boat. You can see 99% of people that's on Bart's boat. Nobody's in distress. Some people are joking. They're like, what's going on? And you're like, so it's not even the pandemonium that people think it is. It's literally Wyatt is driving the thing with his on the phone like this. Some people are working on the boat like this, and then on Bart's boat, people are laughing and joking. And I don't know, are they sinking? They sinking. This is crazy. I think they're sinking. Like that's the kind of environment. So it's not even a panic. And here's the thing: people mad at me because I say this as if I'm making this up. Like we shared the video. The thing is that this is consistent with an account of witnesses who spoke to police that said they saw Nolan on the island after this had already happened. So that confirms that what people are doing with this call is they're doing what we call confirmation bias. Now, this is why I disagree with the young lady, and I don't think she's professional at all in actually translating or doing whatever she claims she did with the audio. Any audio technician that wants to give a fair forensic explanation of what's really on the audio will never put a transcript on the audio. That leads to confirmation bias. If I promise you right now, Chris, if I did it, I almost had my team do it. Change out the words, put it out to the public, and when people see the words, they're going to hear what what they think they saw.
There is a power of suggestion that goes to them. That's why they have the sweetening experts, and then they have the dialogue experts.
Yeah, you can't.
It is interesting that I have family, or specifically Benjamin Crump as counsel, put out this call as proof of anything.
And let me tell you this: they not only didn't put it out as proof. Benjamin Crump on the interview, I forget the Black Blog interview he just did recently. I think his most recent interview. He said, we're going to get our own experts to do this, which means that he did not validate or he did not think.
A lot of people went with that audio, though. A lot of people with big platforms.
I know they did, and they were wrong. And I'm going to tell you this, Chris. I'm being honest. Some people did it because they actually believed it, because they have no experience in investigations. They don't critically think about these things because they're not seeing that people can manipulate on such a scale. There are others that have ran with it because it's lucrative. If I go and put out Toe shows everything, Nolan Wells was dead on a boat, and I push it and pushing it, I'm gonna get millions of views. And some people are like, I'd rather get the views knowing that I'm absolved of any responsibility because it's not my video. So I'm gonna push it until I can get enough of it, and then I'm gonna move on to something else and go, wow, we were lied to. That's crazy. It's like, no, a responsible investigator or a person that's doing due diligence will say, let me make sure that's what that says before I am caught pushing a audio that's saying that Nolan is being killed or he's dead on a boat, which implicates, I don't know, 7 people. So when and Chris, I listened to the audio. I said, I don't have a dog in the fight, man. I mean, I'm spending all of my own money to do all of this stuff. I'm sitting there saying, I'm not going to look like a fool. I spent years building my platform. I'm not finna put fake stuff on my stuff I'm not going to put these boys on an interview and let them lie on my platform and then come to they killed them. My family got to eat at the end of the day. I'm not finna let them ruin my platform. So, but with all that being said, you know, I look at it and I listen to it and I said, listen, Brandon, see if you hear any of that, because this could be a lead. I don't hear that. Unless I'm reading a transcript, I don't hear that whatsoever. So at my investigatory skills and my training is like, hold off until you have an expert or you have something forensically done to that audio that will prove what it says in an unbiased way.
And also, look, there's so many witnesses there. If Nolan was on that boat and something was done to him, there's no way. You're right about reticence going forward, especially once the media circus started. But there's no way investigators don't have that.
No
100%.
Way. Here's the thing that I think that Nolan's parents and Benjamin Crump pushed in the beginning, and which I think caused all this. Why wouldn't they just be honest and tell that law enforcement had spoke to 60 witnesses right when Nolan had died, 2 weeks, 3 before this? They acted as if the boys weren't cooperating. She said they pushed it out there that they lawyered up immediately. No. Warren is the only one that got a lawyer because his stepmom's a judge, and she's smart enough to not let her kid go into the lion's den with no representation, which every parent, responsible parent who has the means to, will make sure your kid a lawyer no matter what. The other boys didn't have a lawyer. They went and talked to police and did a computer voice stress analysis with no representation.
And I don't know if I said this to you last time. I definitely said it about your interview. I don't know if I said it to you, but no chance my son or daughter goes to the police alone to talk to them. I don't know if we discussed this. And I'm not saying, look, I'm not anti-cop. I work with first responders all the time. They get my respect, okay? But no way. No way. When you're looking to make a case, people have to be represented if they're going to talk to you. And I don't care if he did nothing wrong. I don't even care if he wasn't there. It's better if you can afford counsel to have it.
Listen, Chris, this is why we have Miranda rights, right? This is a right.
Yeah, but that's only when they're taking you into custody.
No,
they can come in and should come talk to me, and before you know it,
Well, here's the thing. If you interview a person and they are not free to leave, and you have not made it clear, and you have not read the Miranda rights, then you don't have a right to talk to them whatsoever.
That's right.
When we bring a person in because we have an investigatory reason to talk to them, meaning that, like if you listen to it, well, your statements can be used against you in the court of law. So voluntarily coming into the police station is not automatic that it's all very clear that you can leave.
Right.
Once we get you in the interrogation room, are you under the impression that you can just walk out of this at any time? And are you aware that whatever statements that you give to me can be used against you in the court of law? This is not off the record. So
having a lawyer is not necessarily
everybody
reason for suspicion.
I'm a police advocate, and you better never talk to a police officer without representation in a situation like this.
Yeah, I totally get it. I
You
get it,
crash
but
or something, that's
I get
different.
the family's suspicion. I get the family being triggered. I get the family being heartbroken and desperate and upset. I mean, it all makes sense. All the feels,
But
make
Chris,
sense.
it makes sense until you hear the other side, and then it start to become questionable. Because the thing is that why didn't they talk to Warren them about this before they ever went public? Why didn't they just talk to him? Why didn't they talk to Tristan? Why did they talk
I don't
to
know,
them?
but I could understand being so overwhelmed and immediately concerned that something bad happened to him. Who knows? Maybe somebody said something to them that made them suspicious. But, you know, in that kind of state, it's not like they're acting by their best lights. You know what I mean? They're in the most pain imaginable to a parent.
I agree to that. I consent to that. I think that that is a fair statement. I don't know what I would do in that situation. You know, I think I know what I would do, right? In my opinion, but I have a former police officer background, right? I mean, I'm a former police officer, so I'm talking because I know y'all may have talked to the police, but I'm not gonna know what you said to the police. If you guys are willing to talk to me, let's come together. Let's talk. What do you know? Who saw him last? What was he drunk? Was he drinking? We need to talk. Who else? Whose number you got? I need to talk to them.
Germane to your case or your concern, that conversation from the sweetened audio where there's one voice calling Cito, I have an account, we've got a little problem. Kid doesn't sound panicked, is very pro forma, saying he has an account because they charge you different things if you have an account or if you don't. And then there is a background conversation which sounds terrible. Sounds like there's blaming and about Nolan waking up, and Nolan may well be there by the nature of this conversation.
Cito Assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our village pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey,
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
What is your position on the veracity of that sweetened audio?
So let me address a few things that you said there, and then I certainly will address the audio. There were more than 20 people between those two boats that witnessed what happened between those two boats that were on those vessels. There are, in fact, pictures of who was on those vessels and video of who was on those vessels. There were also a lot of people that were in the water. Like when we're talking about the aid that my client provided to the distressed vessel, it wasn't way out in the water. It literally was while they were still anchored next to Horn Island. So
Understood.
Dozens of people that saw what happened there.
Understood, which makes sense because an experienced boater, which these kids are, they go to the island all the time, they fish all the time, they're around boats. You don't take off if you're taking on water. You try to figure out what it is and what to do about it before you leave. I mean, I've been in exactly that position. It makes sense that it would have happened while they were still stationed.
So, and so let's also, as we talk about the audio, acknowledge what you said about why investigations stay quiet the way that they do. Because I actually think the audio is a great example of why investigations stay quiet. You know, that audio gets released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. A version of it, it's not clear that that was the original audio. And then people take it and try and pick it apart. So you have mentioned enhanced audio and different things that people have heard. It's worth noting that there's been more than one source of quote unquote enhanced audio. That audio appears in different lengths, that different forensic experts have said that there are quote unquote artifacts that were added to the enhanced audio, that music was removed from the enhanced audio. And so all of those things should create a degree of skepticism. The other thing that I would say is that if you listen to even the enhanced audio, and News Nation had a guy on recently, Robert.
Hey,
Reed,
Double tap the screen and hit that sub button if you're new to the channel, gang.
You know, if you
Y'all turn me up. What we doing? What the donations at? Man, we been in an hour.
even the enhanced
you know
audio
what? Fuck this
is
shit.
garbled mess. And so what I would say is, you probably are aware of this. There's all sorts of scientific research on this about the way the human brain processes and offers preference to certain types of input. There's a visual input preference over an auditory input preference. There's a famous experiment done around this, Chris, where two groups of people were put into separate rooms with a noise that didn't say anything. And they were told, one group was said that the noise was the word green needle, or word green needle, and the other was told that it was the word brainstorm. And they got put back together, and they both swore vehemently that they had heard either green needle or brainstorm because they had that visual cue. So I think there's a reason that reputable outlets have chosen not to run enhanced audio, because if you're a reputable outlet, you try to figure out who put this together. Did they start with the original so that we know it wasn't corrupted from the beginning? Is there evidence of corruption that we can detect? Are the links the same? Does that person have bias? These are the questions you'd want to know before you put something in front of people with a written transcript that tells them what they should be hearing, and then allow it to mislead people. We put zero stock in enhanced audio, quote unquote, enhanced audio. And I think that there's a reason that reputable outlets, and candidly a lot of reputable audio experts, are saying that people shouldn't either.
Now, just like everything else, sometimes it's good, sometimes it isn't. I've seen multiple versions. The one that is getting the most traction is a black female who seems to be well-versed in audio editing, and she goes into great detail of what she did, and then it has this background conversation. I have used sweetened audio or audio sweeteners, not just for simple editing purposes here, because obviously my voice is near perfect, but in making things clearer in audio. For example, there is an infamous / famous recording of one-time Trump attorney / bagman / confidant Michael Cohen having a conversation with then citizen Donald Trump about certain payments to certain women. And we used audio sweetening to bring out the voices. It can be done. It can be done forensically. It can be done well. Here is the good news. It doesn't matter about anything that I'm saying, or frankly, counsel is saying up until this point. Does your client say he was part of a conversation on that boat about what was done to Nolan Wells and what kind of situation Nolan Wells was in?
No, I mean, we have been vehement that Nolan Wells was never on my client's boat, that my client never saw Nolan Wells on anybody else's boat, that my client has no idea the circumstances that led to Nolan Wells' death, that he did not cause or contribute to the circumstances that led to Nolan Wells' death. And look, the family has also been very clear that they understand the tremendous grief that Nolan Wells' parents are experiencing, that the Ocean Springs community is experiencing, candidly that his friends are experiencing, and they understand the demand for answers. They understand why this process has to be done thoroughly, why investigators have to turn over every rock. And to that end, I would just tell you that certainly in the case of my client, and certainly in the case of some of these other young men, based on conversations that I've had, they cooperated fully with authorities from the very beginning of this process. I think the only thing that my client and others have asked for is not to arrive at a verdict in a way that is pre-drawn, but instead to wait on facts and evidence before you convict someone in a court of public opinion, because the consequence of that is that you're ruining people's reputations. The consequence of that is that you're subjecting people to actual physical threats and violence. And that's not the way that our system should work.
Has it slowed down? How is your client handling it?
I would tell you that, he's a 21-year-old, kid's the wrong word, because I know that's a grown man, but you can remember being 21.
He is a physically grown man. He is not an emotionally or cognitively grown man. I've got one at home. In fact, I've got two at home. One male, one female in that age range. I see them as children within the eyes of the law, obviously adults.
Right, and I'm not suggesting that's not true, but I am suggesting that you and I both remember what it was like to be 21, and this is devastating. Now, I will say to his credit, I think this would be devastating to somebody that's 45 or 60, to have these kind of accusations being bandied about without evidence. To his credit, he is an incredibly mature, candidly wise young man.
Well, this kind of situation makes you grow up fast. But just for the benefit of the audience, as a simple colloquy, you just stated
Damn, boy, it's still down.
there were multiple
500 in
witnesses
there, bet.
to attest to
Bet.
this one way or the other.
This one
Your
right here
client-
about over. This here about over, man. This one here about over. Let's get into the one that really make you she'll make your spine quiver a little bit. Yeah, she'll make your spine just quiver a little bit. No cap. Just a little bit, not a whole lot. Because she know what I told her. I told her how to act. I told her, I say, certain ways you gotta act on this internet. She know how to, you know what I'm saying? She know how to present herself. She know I don't play the radio. She know that. Let's get into my old lady real quick. I want her to talk about this Nolan Wells case. Let's get into her right quick. Yeah. Let's get into her right quick. So y'all got her effed up.
Every time I drive, I feel like I'm in a
Y'all got her effed up for real. A lot of people don't like her. Some people do like her.
I can do this all day.
But this is my old lady all day. And I don't care what y'all got to say. This is my old lady all day.
The investigation into
Let's go.
the Nolan Wells death
Let's go.
bombshell.
Y'all here.
Joining us tonight.
Let's go.
Nolan's friends,
Let's go.
lawyers, fight back. Who's telling the truth? They think they know. But do they? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Let's go.
There's a big honking mark, subcutaneous, deep reddening tissue on his occipital. If I hit somebody in the back of the head, it'd be right there.
There was no indication that there was any kind of contusions on the hand, the arm, no kind of defensive event.
Back to Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. Have the friends taken polygraphs?
From my understanding, all but I believe one took a polygraph, and from what was told to me that they all passed, and all of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer, and they cooperated with law enforcement. So from my understanding, everybody took
Why
a
do you say
polygraph
that's
test
from
but
what you
one.
understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and passed?
Yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there, so that's what I'm saying. From my understanding, they told me that all the boys except one, which is Warren, I believe, took a polygraph test. All of them did not have lawyers and did it and cooperated with police. Warren also cooperated with police. I just believe he didn't take a lot to take the test, but Warren is the young man that I interviewed. So according to what they told me, they all took a lot to take the test and passed. And it's an equivalent of a lot to take the test. It's not a traditional lot to take test, but it's the same theology of trying to get to if a person is lying. I don't know the name of it. It's an equivalent of a lot to take the test. It's a different methodology. I don't believe it was a polygraph test. I believe they took other stressors in order to analyze if
So
the
then
people were
the
telling the
answer
truth or
to
not.
did they take a polygraph would be no. That is Officer Tatum from The Officer Tatum on YouTube. Joining us tonight are two very special guests. They are convinced of the friends, and when I say quoties, I don't mean they are or they're not friends, because I don't know. The young men on the Triton boat, that took Nolan Wells to Horn Island. Many argue he was on the boat on the return when foul play occurred. Many argue he was not. In fact, the timeline has blown up because there are reports that Nolan Wells was seen on the island after the friend's boat left, which would exonerate them. Is that true? I don't know. I'm trying to find out. For me, nobody's guilty and everybody's a suspect because we don't know the truth yet. But we will. Joining us tonight, Tyler Cox, the lawyer for several of the young men with the law firm Taylor and Cox, him being the Cox. Also with us, another veteran trial lawyer, Edward Pulsick, attorney for the boys as well. Actually, they're not boys. They're adults in the eyes of the law due to their age. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us tonight. My first question to clear up this matter, have your clients taken polygraphs? First to you, Tyler Cox.
Nancy, my clients have not taken a polygraph test. And I can tell you why. Because any lawyer worth their salt is going to tell them.
That mean Officer Tatum lied then. Remember he said my clients took a polygraph? Old boy saying my clients did not take a polygraph. Let's go. Let's get into it though. We ain't gonna reach, but I'm just saying though. Let's
clients go. Not to take a polygraph test under any circumstances. Two of my clients went in and made statements with me. We're not going to I'm not going to do a polygraph test because one, as you know, they're not admissible in court. And so it wasn't going to be admissible anyway. You should never, ever, if you're a lawyer, allow your clients to take a polygraph test. Now, we allowed investigators from the jump to have access to their phones, their Life 360, everything. We have cooperated implicitly every step of the way. But no, they didn't take polygraphs tests. But what I'll tell you is one of the other boys who...
Maintenance fee, overdraft fee, minimum balance fee, maximum balance fee. Banking fees are just a part of...
Who I won't mention the name, but I'm sure that you've heard, took one. The girl that Nolan was with took a stress analysis voice test, and so did the other boy. So that's the test they took. Both of them passed. And so, again, no lawyer worth of salt is going to tell his clients to take a polygraph test or anything like that.
I would like to corroborate part of what Tyler Cox just said. Any defense attorney, whether they're convinced, truly convinced their client is innocent or guilty, they're not going to allow a poly. I've never seen that. I've had a couple of lawyers, maybe 3, in all the years I practiced, all the people I put behind bars, consent before trial to a poly. 3. And they were all criminal cases that carried severe penalties. So what he's saying is true. Even if you think your client is innocent, very rarely will you see a defense lawyer say, sure, take a poly. However, I disagree with you regarding their admittance into court. Polygraphs are allowed in civil trials. O.J. Simpson, he flunked horribly. And if both sides stipulate to the polygraph's admittance before the polygraph is taken, it can come into a criminal trial. The reality is that never happens. That never happens.
Right. At the time that we first cooperated with police, the first very week, the days after, just 1 to 2 days after the disappearance of Nolan Wells, we're not thinking about a civil suit. We're not thinking about that. We're thinking about how can we provide as much information to authorities so that they can find Nolan Wells. And it was not until after we spoke to officers and investigators that Nolan, unfortunately, his body was found on Horn Island, washed up. and it's unfortunate, and I hate that for Nolan, because by all accounts he was an incredible person. He was just truly remarkable in almost every sense of the word. But I mean, we're not thinking about a civil suit at that point in time. We're trying to help authorities find her friend, who we can't find either.
Edward Polczyk joining us in addition to Tyler Cox, both of them veteran trial lawyers. He is with Taylor Dykema. Edward, how did you get involved in this case?
Well, I'd rather not talk about that. I can just tell you this. I can tell you that it was through a friend of a friend.
You're kidding, right? You're kidding me. Because when you tell me I'd rather not answer,
Well, I want
that's
to protect
just
the names that I
igniting me to find out how you got involved in the case.
Well, hold on. I can tell you a little bit more. I can tell you this. I can tell you a close friend who knows the Ocean Springs, Mississippi community very, very well, is from the area, connected me to a friend of his, and then I found myself speaking to Tyler here, and Tyler and I instantly became very close friends. We both have blue pickup trucks, so now we're the Blues Brothers. We just became very close. We hit it off. Then I had the opportunity to speak to Warren, speak to Morgan, speak to Jax, and we hit it off also. And I immediately realized these are incredibly fine young men. I realized right away I wanted to help them out.
Ed, to you and Tyler, I'm not saying they have lied, and I'm not saying they haven't lied. I don't know. I have no reason to disbelieve your clients or to believe them. But you do know that people can look you right in the face and lie through your teeth, and you believe them. I've done it. I've had witnesses that I found out were lying to me, and it was a huge blow. I've had police officers. I worked a child trafficking case. My first child trafficking case. Worked it. I finally found the little girl. I went into a room full of sex workers. They went, she's in there. I'm like, there's no child in there. They went, she's the one in the white boots. She looked like she was 38 years old. She's 14. That said, we won the case. But fast forward about 10 months later, I was walking through the grand jury room and I saw these horrible federal court sketches. I'm like, oh my stars, is that who I think it is? It was my vice cops. They had been stealing from dopers, and they got indicted by the feds. And I had been out on the street with them every day for months trying to prove a child trafficking case. So, just because somebody tells you the sky is blue does not mean the sky is blue. You do know that, right?
Well, I can tell you this. They were off Horn Island at 4:30 p.m. on July 4th, and Nolan Wells was seen alive.
Now we're getting somewhere. How can you prove that to me other than them telling you? I assume you've got GPS tracking and the call to CETO?
We have witnesses, among other things, but I can also tell you this. They were off the island at 4:30 p.m., and Nolan Wells was seen alive by multiple people at 6 p.m., still on the island. And I'm sure Tyler would be happy to elaborate on that, but this is a no doubt 100%.
Please tell me, Tyler.
Yes.
Because I don't believe any of these people, and I don't disbelieve any of these people. I want to hear about witnesses that spotted him alive after 4:30. Because I believe I can confirm the boat left around 4:30. And I'm referring to the Triton. That's the boat they were on. There are a lot of boats. Let's see the video of all the boats out there. So when I say Triton, I'm talking about the boat Nolan was on the way to the island. There's a lot of boats out there and a lot of witnesses too. This is from the Officer Tatum. Okay, there are witnesses placing him there at 6. And I want to be very clear, gentlemen, that I'm not convinced he drowned just because somebody said so. Even if he did drown, that does not mean that there wasn't foul play. Why is that mark on the back of his head? Was he hit on the head and fell in the water? Was he held under the water? Was it an accident? I don't know. But I am very interested in witnesses that place him alive at 6 p.m. Please tell me, Tyler Cox.
So, Nancy, look, we have had multiple witnesses reach out to us, 2 confirmed witnesses that saw Nolan Wells on the island around 6 p.m. on July 4th, well after the Triton, as you said, left around 4:30. And so those witnesses went to investigators, they've talked to the police, and they've done what they're supposed to do. We've cooperated 100%. So has
Where did they
those
see him,
witnesses.
Tyler Cox? Where did the witnesses see them? Do they know him well enough to make a positive ID? Hey, speaking of a positive ID, control room, please pull up a photo that we showed a couple of days ago. There are 2 or 3 women, white females, walking along the beach, as I recall, each clad in a bikini. There is one, I believe, a white male and one black male walking with them. That, can you zoom in a little bit? That's not really helping me that much. For instance, did your witnesses know Nolan? Can they identify him? Because I'm looking right at this and I cannot identify if the male behind the female on the white, the female wearing a white hat, I can't tell if that's Nolan or not. It's a very blurry photo. I can't make it out. So, do your witnesses know him? I mean, let me see my guess, please. Mr. Polsick, Mr. Cox, I know the 2 of you. I don't see both of them. There they are. The 2 of you have tried a lot of cases, as have I. To get in or attack an eyewitness, you, and it's in the code, the official code of Mississippi annotated. There are prescribed methods under which you cross-examine an eyewitness. For instance, does the witness know the target? Was the lighting sufficient? How far away was the witness? What were the conditions of the eyewitness identification? Was the eyewitness inebriated or high or otherwise incapacitated? How far away were they? Do they wear glasses? It goes on and on and on. It's laid out in the code. Tell me about these witnesses. How do they know it was Nolan? Hey, control room, show me that picture of Nolan on the boat. He's bent over. All I can see are his legs and his behind. The only reason I think that's Nolan is because it matches his swimsuit. Did they see that? How can they identify Nolan? First to you, Tyler.
Well, I'm not sure if the witnesses saw that picture that you just put on screen, but I can confirm to you that these witnesses know Nolan. They've known him for a long time. They were able to make a positive ID. And they told that to investigators. They told them that from the very start.
Had they been drinking?
That I do not know.
How are they sure it was 6 o'clock? Look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm asking the questions I would ask in court. How do they know it was 6 o'clock? Did they go, oh, there's Nolan Wells at 6 p.m.?
Well, I'm pretty sure, Nancy, they were aware of the time. I'm not sure if they were drinking or not, but they're the ones that came forward to police and investigators, and that's their story to tell. What I'm telling you is they made a positive ID on Nolan Wells around 6 o'clock, and they told that to investigators, all while our clients were off the island around 4:30. So we have positive identification on Nolan on the island an hour and a half after our clients left. So, as you know from your experience as a prosecutor, they can't do 2 things at once. They can't be on the island at 6 o'clock and be on the boat going off the island at 4:30. So, that's where we are. Our clients have nothing to do with the death of Nolan Wells. We know how he died. We want to know. Please tell us. Somebody. We want to know just as much as anyone else. Our clients loved Nolan Wells. They were brothers to Nolan Wells. I've still yet to hear one bad thing about Nolan Wells. He was a good Ocean Springs kid. Just as Chuck Bordy says all the time in the courtroom, these are good Ocean Springs people. So Nolan was a good Ocean Springs person too. They love Nolan. We want to know. Will someone
Okay,
please
just stop right there,
tell us?
Tyler. Tyler, I've got 1 hour, and nobody's running for miscongeniality. Let's just let it be noted, judicial notice. They were all good. Everybody's good. Okay.
Man, I'm loving this new
Palisade. Yeah.
Every time I drive, I feel like I'm in a movie now. I could do this all day.
Make every day feel epic in the Hyundai Palisade Hybrid.
Tyler,
Yes.
the witnesses that came forward, here's something that would tend to corroborate them is if multiple witnesses said the same thing. Witnesses separated in time and space, witnesses that are not all friends, witnesses that are not good friends with your clients, that may have a reason to be fuzzy all the time. I'm not saying they are or that they're not. Here's my question to you. Are these witnesses friends of your clients?
I don't think they're friends, and they're not even the same age.
Okay. Next question. How many witnesses place him there on the island at 6-ish?
At least 2 that I know.
2. Do the witnesses know each other?
Yes.
Were they together that day?
Yes.
Have they had a chance to discuss their recollections with each other before they came to police?
Well, I'm sure they did. Nancy, look, they did what they were supposed to do, and they spoke to police officers. And you know as well as I do that if investigators or a DA's office had any sort of probable cause to make an arrest in a case like this, they would. They would have.
Or they may be gathering evidence to make sure they've got all the evidence that there is. I mean, I would wait until I had all the evidence, including a completed autopsy. You know what? I'm going to jump ahead. But regarding the body, regarding Nolan's body, we've heard all sorts of inflammatory things. But the one thing that, well, many things are very interesting and probative. For instance, why was Nolan's neck of so much interest to the original medical examiner that it was removed? His foot wasn't removed. His toe wasn't removed. His ear wasn't removed. Why his neck? The lungs and the neck were removed, which obviously Edward Pulsick touches on COD, cause of death. I understand why the medical examiner took his lungs. He had to run tests on them to determine, did he drown? Of course, all 3 of us know you can drown and there still be foul play. Somebody whacked you on the head. Somebody held you underwater. It could be any number of things. Or it could be an innocent drowning. But why the throat? What was curious about the throat, Ed? Were there marks on the throat? Was there a ligature mark? Was there manual strangulation? Was there a compression? Were there bruises? Were there scratches? I don't know. Was the hyoid missing? I could go on, but I won't. Do either of you know what was of interest to the medical examiner in the removal of Nolan's throat?
I'll tell you this. Listen, we're not coroners, not medical examiners. We want to know what happened to him just as much as everyone else. Quite frankly, more. Because Nolan was their best friend. Warren, Morgan, Jax. Nolan was their best friend. We want to know what happened. We haven't examined Nolan's body. We're not scientists.
I just thought maybe you had been somehow told why they took his throat. Okay, that's a no. We don't know why they took his throat.
Yeah, we don't want to speculate.
Let me start with an open-ended question to you, gentlemen. I started with, why haven't they taken a polygraph? I want to hear what your clients are saying happened that day, because my interest is piqued because you stated a young lady, and I assume this is Katie, the mysterious Katie, who turns out not to be that mysterious at all. Much was made of that. Now, one thing about Katie, originally, one or some of your clients said he was with some girl, we don't know her. Then it turned out they had been texting with her. So they did know her. There may be an innocent explanation for that or not. So explain to me, who were they talking about when they said he was with a girl, we don't know her? He had never met her before, but yet they were texting with Katie, the girl he had been with. I'll throw that to you, Tyler. Do you know the answer to that?
Sure. So they did know Katie, and they believe that Nolan didn't know Katie before that day. But you have to remember, once they started getting suspicious that Nolan wasn't with them anymore, they start asking themselves, okay, well, where's Nolan? They start texting everyone that they knew. Hey, have you seen Nolan? Do you know where Nolan is? Did he make it back home? All before they called Christine Wells that night, they start asking everybody. And so eventually they end up getting, through mutual friends, whoever, Katie's number. And so I believe it was maybe either Snapchat or text message. They got in communication with Katie. And Katie says, I don't know. We thought he was leaving with y'all. Well, I don't believe that's the case, obviously, because he did not leave with our boys. We don't know what happened to him, but that's Katie's statement. That's how they got a hold of Katie's numbers, because they're frantically trying to find out what happened to Nolan.
What's your take on it, Ed? Because I think he's saying they did know Katie. I couldn't tell if he said did or didn't. Did he say they all did know Katie?
No, they did not.
They didn't know Katie. All right. And they determined who she was. Okay.
Right.
Hey, hold on. Tyler, you stated your clients began to get suspicious, whereas Nolan. When did they get suspicious?
I'm saying, though,
it was later that night. I believe it was around 9.
That's crazy when they say they didn't know Katie, but they say they seen Katie in Nolan Wells' arms. Warren said that in an interview. He said last time he seen Nolan, he had Kaylee in his arms walking through the water with her. That's all I'm gonna say. I remember that. I do remember that part. I'm not saying nobody lied on that, but I'm just saying everybody saying this and that in interviews and in real life, like, is, you know what I'm saying? All I'm saying, gang. Let's go get the lights up for me. Let's get the 200 lights right fast, gang. We ain't got too
10
much longer
o'clock,
in here.
maybe even 11.
Let's go.
That they start saying, oh, well, has anyone seen Nolan? Where's Nolan? Did he make it back home? Did anybody know? They start calling around, texting, asking everybody. And once they determined that no one had the answer about where Nolan was, that's when they called Christine Wells. And then they stay on the phone. My client stayed on the phone with Christine Wells for about 5 or 6 minutes. And then he tells her, look, I'm going to call the Coast Guard just to make sure. And he did. He stays on the phone with the Coast Guard for 21 minutes.
Okay. Ed Pulsick, also veteran trial lawyer. Ed, do you concur with that explanation of why they first said, I don't know her, we don't know her, he didn't know her, and then we find out that they had actually been texting with Katie? What's your understanding of that? Again, I had my favorite trial judge, Luther Alverson, would tell every jury, it is your duty to make all witnesses speak the truth. What does that mean? To reconcile the different seemingly conflicting stories to make everyone be telling the truth and impugn perjury on no one. So maybe there's an explanation for this. Why do they say, we don't know her, and then they're texting her? So they did know her.
That characterization.
Right.
They didn't say
Y'all
that.
see
There's
what I'm
no
saying?
contradiction. I can just tell you this. They didn't know her. Nolan was with her much of the day. And he was still on the island when they left. He apparently spent much of the day with this young lady. That seems to be what happened. But no, there was this young lady was not part of their friend group. That's right.
Maintenance fee, overdraft fee, minimum balance fee, maximum balance fee. Banking fees are just a part of modern life. Or
Okay, so when they say they didn't know her, but yet they were texting her, they did know her name.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that characterization. Yeah, the
well,
premise,
enlighten me. I want to know.
Is flawed. Yeah, the premise is flawed. She's not part of their friend group. They don't know her. I can tell you that it does appear, once again, it appears that Nolan was with this young lady for much of the day. That does seem to be confirmed by many witnesses. And I could tell you this, Nancy, one thing about this island, I did have the opportunity to go to Horn Island. And when you go to the island, everything starts to make sense. The first picture was maybe not so accurate. If you go to the part of Horn Island where, you know, these events all occurred, you see that there are really no trees on that part of the island. It's flat, it's open, there are no visual obstructions, so there's no trees, there's no shelter, there's no nothing, and it was broad daylight with thousands of people there. Meaning there was no opportunity for foul play during daylight hours. And that's where this whole thing starts to unravel.
Ed,
you have to go to the island.
Please,
You have to go to
there's
the island.
opportunity for foul play. He could have been walked
Not
on
in
the
this
head on a
environment.
boat,
Not
pushed
in-
over. There's.
I'm telling you, not in this
It doesn't have to
environment.
be
I
on the
was there.
beach. It could be
I'm telling
anywhere.
You got to understand, it's a 10-mile long barrier island, but it's only a few hundred yards wide in most places. There's nowhere to hide.
Let me see the video and show it to Ed and Tyler. The video of all those boats. Anything could have happened between those boats. Anything.
Well, but
Even
but
an
Nancy,
accident could happen between those boats. And
but
so
Nancy-
many people are drunk.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? We could always say anything is possible. An asteroid could strike right now. But I am telling you that there are a lot of people who have talked about this case and have said things that are not true, and they haven't been to the island. They've got to go to the island. If you don't go to the island, you can't speak with authority about the case. And I won't name names, but a lot of people who have hurt these fine young men and have defamed them, they've never visited the island, and I'm willing to bet that they've never visited the islands. Look at it
y'all
right
see what
there.
he's saying? He
That
throwing,
shot you have
he
right
throwing
there.
slit
Broad
shots.
daylight with
He throwing
thousands of
slit
people
shots,
there.
gang.
The
He
picture
throwing
speaks for
slit
itself.
shots.
Agree with what you're saying. I agree that it would be nearly impossible for foul play to take place on that beach. Again, I direct your attention to the gathering of boats with the boats closely together. Everybody's drinking, nobody's paying attention. Like, I can't tell what's going on between the boats at a distance. I don't know. I don't know what's happening in the water. I don't know. That
I can tell you
said,
this.
I agree. I don't think anything
Yes.
happened out in the plain view on the beach. But there are other
And-
alternatives.
I want to add, though, we have a difference of opinion. When I see that video of the boats in the water there, that also is not a good place to get away with murder. Now, we have been very careful. We have refrained from speculation. We have refrained from guessing, and we're going to continue to do that. However, plain view of that scene, the beach, the boats, the water, that is not a secretive environment. It just isn't.
I agree the beach is not secretive, and I also agree the whole island is not secretive because there's really nowhere to hide there anyway. Guys, let me move to the boat. Right. Has the boat been searched by authorities?
I do not believe that it has been searched by authorities, but it's been available to authorities this entire time. If authorities wanted to come see it, they're more than able to, and have been.
Okay, I find that very interesting, Tyler, and I'll tell you why. In so many cases that I've prosecuted and covered and investigated, you see defendants, targets, trying to get rid of evidence. You see them cleaning the boat. You see them washing it down. You see them trying all sorts of methods to get rid of evidence. It's interesting to me and somewhat probative that your clients have offered the boat up to law enforcement to come and search it. I'm curious, has the boat not just been searched with the naked eye? Has luminol been used on the boat? Has alternative light sources been used on the boat? Has a cadaver dog come to the boat? Has a scent dog come to the boat? To your knowledge, either one of you.
To my knowledge, Nancy, I do not believe that has happened. But again, my 3 clients, either one of them, none of them own that boat. So if it has, you would have to ask the owners.
Tyler, do I look like I just fell off the turnip truck? Maybe I do, because we did sell turnips at the farmer's market when I was growing up. That said,
what that supposed to mean, Ness? Go ahead.
you
Turn
telling
up.
me my clients don't own
Here
the
we
boat,
go.
so you'd have to ask the owner. Come on. You and
Look at 200 likes,
know
gang.
if the boat has been searched. You know if cadaver dogs or scent dogs, luminol or alternative light has been used on the boat. Can you just tell me? Yes, no. It's not your client's fault. It's law enforcement's fault.
Dang, y'all gonna do me like that, gang? Listen, gang, we ain't got no super chat gifts.
There was something.
We've been in here we 10 minutes from 2 hours. No gifts, no super chats. Oh, y'all gonna do it like that? I know y'all got paid yesterday. Yesterday was Friday. Today Saturday. Don't do me like that, gang. Oh, that effed up. Alright, okay. Oh, okay. I see how y'all doing it. Bet.
Defined on that boat.
Bet.
Don't you think
Alright.
this far out they will already done it?
I would think in the ordinary course of an investigation into potential foul play, I would have gone out there and done it. Just
As if you believe there was potential foul play.
Just to say, I searched it and it was clean. I didn't find any blood.
Well, you're asking a valid. Hold on, you're asking a valid question. You're just asking the wrong people. That's a question for law enforcement.
To your knowledge, has it been searched? Have you been told by anyone that it was searched?
I don't have any involvement with the law enforcement. I don't have any involvement in the investigation.
I'm going to take that as a no.
You can take it how you want. We're conducting our own investigation.
So you can take it how you want.
Homeowners, Nancy Grace here.
Oh, dang, he got real sporty when he said that. He said you can take it how you want.
From you.
Nah, he didn't do it like that, did he?
Cox, the lawyer.
Hey, appreciate that super chat, Malico.
Also,
appreciate that, gang.
Edward Pulsick, attorney.
Appreciate that gift, Mr. Eric.
As well. Tell me what you can about the
know what I'm saying? Turn that bit up.
call. I've had renowned experts.
I appreciate that, gang.
This wasn't doctored. I've had renowned experts say this was totally doctored. Have you heard the original CETO call?
Hey, keep it coming, gang. I appreciate that.
Mississippi Department Marine.
$1.99 super chats.
Listen to that call.
Gifts, everything accepted.
So many times.
We in here. We chilling.
Jaded.
I'm letting everybody rock
based
out.
On what
we chilling.
Think they're hearing based on enhancements. I even had
my own
producer who does not have a dog in this fight, no skin in the game, enhance it. But I want to hear what you guys know about the CETO call. My mind is open.
Look, anybody can adjust the gain. Anybody can enhance it or sweeten it. But it doesn't change the fact that just because you put words over some audio means that those words are now attributable to what is on the call. Look, another boy called CETO. We have video that was released of Brandon Tatum. He posted it, and it shows who all was on the boat. At no point in time does this CETO call ever, not once, where you find any sort of mention of Nolan being on the boat, of something happening to Nolan. I cannot state clearly enough, Nolan was not on the boat when it departed around 4:30. Look, the video that you're showing now, does anyone look like, and look, there's the boy that's on the CETO call right there. Does anyone look like there's a body on the boat or something had just happened? Look, Nancy, you were a prosecutor for a long time. None of these boys have a story that is untrue. Don't you think that after all this time, somebody would have snitched?
Hey, appreciate that, Mr. Eric.
Story straight? No. Look, these boys are telling the truth.
Typically, you're absolutely right. That's why I usually don't believe in conspiracies, because nobody can keep their yap shut. Somebody blabs.
And Nancy, now I'll say something about the CETO call. I have heard a lot of versions of the CETO call. And most of them are either completely fake or AI or doctored. And Unfortunately, for folks that are doing that, that may become the subject of one or more lawsuits. It appears that there are hundreds of versions of the CTO call all over the internet, everywhere online. So now nobody can keep track of it. But I can tell you that. I can tell you, look at those photos. Nolan Wells is not on that boat.
The photos to me are very convincing. Let's see the photo they're talking about again.
Yes, I'm glad we agree about that.
Do I know what time that was or what it was? Is there a timestamp? Look,
Yeah,
I'm
around
not
4:30.
saying either of you are lying. I'm saying this is how I would test evidence in court. I mean, I take everything with a box of salt. When was that taken? Where was it taken? What time was it taken?
Yeah.
I'm curious. Is it timestamped?
And Nancy, you've been trying this case for over 30 days. The facts are the facts are the facts. These boys had nothing to do with the death of Nolan Wells.
Okay,
Listen,
when was the
we don't-
timestamp on that video?
Nancy, I'm going to answer it this way.
Yes.
We don't think that you're accusing us of lying. We don't feel that way. We're just simply saying this. And it's
Yes,
okay.
y'all
You're
do.
asking
Yes, y'all
legitimate
do.
investigative
Yes, y'all do.
questions.
Yes,
And
y'all
we don't
do.
fault you for that. But here's what we're saying.
Y'all feel she lying.
It's
Y'all
been
feel it.
over 30 days. There has never
I
been
can read between
one
the lines
shred,
now.
one iota, one piece, nothing.
Small cops.
There is no
I meant
evidence Warren
call cops.
to any crime because they did not commit a crime. They had nothing
That may very well
whatsoever
be
to
true.
do. Right.
And
There's
again,
nothing.
what's the timestamp on that video?
But that's not our burden. See, that's the problem. You're putting this burden on us, all right? There's never been one piece of
you
evidence.
did that to yourself, Paul, when
No,
you
we
said,
didn't.
here's the boat that day and he's not on it. That may very well be true. That may be
no,
absolutely
we
true.
didn't
And I'm
do that
saying,
to ourselves.
when was the video
Well,
taken?
Well, no, I'm telling you.
Around
that we have
4:30,
multiple-
July 4th.
Yeah, and I'm telling you another thing, Nancy. We have multiple witnesses, and we're going to protect their names on the air here. We're not going to air out
think
a
you
private
should.
list of witnesses. We are. We're going to protect them. So I want to emphasize that as well. The witnesses that we're talking about, we're not going to do that to them. We're not going to name them here on the air. We're not doing that.
I'm not
So-
asking you to.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are.
I'm asking you
But we're
again
not-
when the timestamp is on that video. But if you don't know, I'm not saying that that's wrong or right.
Well,
I'm saying
no,
I want to know to
I understand that,
corroborate
but that's
that
not-
video.
I understand that, but that's not a relevant question for your present guest since we didn't make the video. But I can tell you this.
Okay, well, you showed me
Where's-
the video, and that's why I'm asking. Okay, let me ask
Well,
you
we didn't-
something else.
yeah, we didn't show you- we didn't
state
show you
that your
that.
clients
Go ahead.
know of witnesses, or you know of witnesses that placed
Yes.
Nolan at Horn Island alive at 6 p.m.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
Now, all of this aside, has the boat been searched? Where is Nolan's phone? Where are your clients' phone? All that is superseded by the fact that there may be witnesses placing him alive on the island at 6 p.m. And everything else.
Man, I'm loving this new house.
Yeah.
Every time I drive, I feel like I'm in a movie now.
I can do this all day.
Make every day feel epic in the Hyundai Palisade Hybrid.
Hotels.com is where you go to choose from hundreds of thousands of hotels and earn rewards on every stay. It's a
disappears for me if that is true, because I know your clients were gone at 4:30-ish.
Yes.
Have these witnesses been questioned by law enforcement? Do you know?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You're sure?
Yes. Yes, and I'll tell you another thing. One other thing. There's a corollary, Nancy. There's a corollary. So there are witnesses who can place Nolan Wells at 6 p.m. There are also witnesses who can confirm that Warren, Morgan, and Jax left the island around 4:30. So both sides are covered. We've got it covered.
Well, For me, it's not that simple because I still don't know what happened to Nolan Wells. However,
Neither do we.
I believe that the GPS, which really cannot be controverted, shows when the Triton left, witness or no witness. I've got that. Now, who's on the boat? I believe that video is going to tell me who's on the boat. But all that, the overarching issue is, was he alive at 6 p.m.? This is where I'm going.
And Nancy,
I don't
can I say
care
one? Nancy,
who
one thing.
was with him last. I don't care if it exonerates or convicts
of course.
anybody. I just want to know the truth.
And it's good to ask,
Sir?
and I want to say this, it's good to ask tough questions. These are all valid questions, but what we're trying to do for you is simplify it. 4:30 and 6 p.m. End of story.
I want to believe you. I want to believe you, Ed. But just because somebody says so, don't make it so. And I'm trying to prove it. That your clients were gone and that Nolan, more importantly, in my mind, was still alive. If that's true, your clients are in the clear. As far
Hey,
as
appreciate that gift,
and
Mr.
the
Eric.
CETO call and everything else falls away if I can place him alive at 6 p.m. And the people that want to hang your clients, I can't help their unrequited anger.
Yes.
I don't care. Because somebody, in my mind, was the last person to see Nolan Wells alive, whether it's your client or somebody else, and I want to find that person that saw
Yes.
this. You say 6 o'clock? Who are they? Make yourselves known. Put us all out of our misery. Help me find out what happened to Nolan.
Yes.
Nancy, can I ask you this?
Understand. I'm just trying to find out. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Why in the world would these witnesses make themselves public after you've seen more than 30 days of death threats, in-person threats, credible threats, people making threats and getting arrested, all geared towards these boys and others? Why would they become public? Why would they
here's
come
one
out
answer.
public?
One answer is they're telling the truth and they want to put it out there. Another
We told the truth
possibility
to
is
investigators.
everybody already knew who they were, so they went out on Tatum to exonerate themselves. I mean, that could go either way. But I see what you're saying. I get it.
And Nancy,
I still don't know.
Nancy, have you ever seen any other people accused of the crimes that online internet trolls have accused these boys of go and do podcasts, do interviews, have their attorneys go and advocate for them like this on a national platform like this? If we weren't 100% sure and they weren't 100% sure that nothing they did was in connection to Nolan Wells' death. They left the island at 4:30. He was spotted on the island after that at 6, alive and well. That's it. End of story. Do you think these are actions of 3 boys who want to keep their story straight, 2, don't snitch on each other, and 3, have made and had to have made to defend themselves multiple media appearances and have their attorneys do the same? Are those the actions of someone who is guilty? No.
Typically, no, I agree with you. But there are cases where killers go out in the front of it and make all sorts of pleas. Please bring my mom home. Please bring my little babies home. Yes, I have seen that. I know that's not what you want to hear, but yes, I have seen it.
Right. And Nancy, let me give you a really important point here. And by the way, I appreciate some of the things you're saying. And let me just say this. This might be the most important thing. Look, we have a lot of humility. Warren, Morgan, and Jax have a lot of humility. One of the things that we knew when we were going to come on with you is we know you're going to ask us tough questions. We know you're going to ask us tough questions. And we're happy to answer them as best we can. But one thing we've been very consistent about, there are so many things we don't know, right? We won't be able to answer all of your tough questions. And the reason we can't is because we just don't know the answer to a lot of them. But we do know what we know. We know they were off that island at 4:30. We know Nolan was on the island at 6. We just want to emphasize our humility in that regard. Because we just don't know, and we would love to know. We want to know how this tragedy happened as much as anyone, more than anyone.
I want both of you gentlemen to understand something. If I thought I had convicted the wrong person, I couldn't live with myself. I personally investigated every case I ever tried and put before a jury. I do not want the wrong person, an innocent person, to suffer claims and allegations, much less go to jail. But I do want the right person, if there is a right person.
Right, if there is.
Which leads me to, I want to believe you and I want to believe your clients. But for me, everything is what can I prove? What can I prove? They say so what? Prove it to me. Let me ask you this. Do you know where Nolan's phone is? Anybody? Can anybody tell me where Nolan's phone is?
Good question.
Right now, as we sit here today.
Has it ever been turned over to authorities?
No, it has not.
You're sure?
Yeah. I believe that Ben Crump, using local counsel, sent a letter out just last night, gave it to Don Lemon on his show, and Don Lemon on his show confirmed that they have not given the phone to investigators.
Well, that's on investigators because they need to get the phone and they need to look at it.
How are they going to get it if they don't give it to them?
Warrant? Subpoena Duke is taken? Grand jury subpoena Duke is taken?
Sure, but it hasn't been to the grand jury.
No one's found?
Yet. Hasn't been to the grand jury.
Are you telling me you don't think a grand jury is convening on this?
I think they are. I don't think they have looked at
Well, you said, how do you get the phone? You obviously get the phone. Police go say, hey, can we look at the phone? And they go, sure, here it is. That's one way.
Well,
or you're investigating a potential crime. You get a warrant and you go, hey, give me the phone. Here's the warrant. That's two ways. Or you get a grand jury or a judge's order. There's all sorts of ways to get that phone.
Well, Nancy,
you could just ask them to hand it over.
Yeah, Nancy,
why
has the... Yeah, Nancy, why? Yeah, why? Why is that phone hasn't been turned over? Why? Why?
Why
would the DA's office need to get a warrant?
But I think it should be, and I think it should be asked for. Look, I am not stirring the Nolan Wills phone pot with you. I got bigger fish to fry with you two gentlemen. I'm just curious. I mean, wouldn't that put a lot to bed if we could look at the phone and look at the GPS tracker on it, look at the route? I mean, look,
yeah,
I know where my twins are right now because they got Live 360. Yay.
Nancy,
why can't we look at that? I mean,
Nancy, we want more evidence. Let's get it all. That's the thing. That's the beauty of it. When you're telling the truth and you're representing three innocent young men, the beauty of it is you want more evidence.
We gave our phones up. We let them do a phone dump of our phones.
Which I find very, very interesting. Because a phone dump, everybody shows where the phone's been, what time it was there. It's not hard to do. It pings off phone cell towers, and you can tell as it progresses along. Not hard. Easy. And I find that probative because it will tell me when the boys went to Horn Island, the young men, and when they returned. It's better than an eyewitness to me. Tyler.
Maintenance fee, overdraft fee, minimum balance fee, maximum balance fee. Banking fees are just a part of modern life. Or
what else do you have to add?
Nancy, we have told you, we've told everyone we could, we've shouted it from the rooftops. The same story over and over again. There's no other way to say it. It's like banging our heads against the wall because nobody, at least in the online atmosphere, will listen to it. We've said the same thing over and over and over again. We can't say it any other different way. That's the truth. The truth is what it is.
Hi guys, Nancy Grace here. If you are a homeowner, you probably thought, should I call American Financing to refinance and pay off this debt? But you don't because of your having the boat searched by law enforcement with scent dogs, cadaver dogs, and luminol would go a long way to stopping the speculation. But again, all that aside, if I could speak to or hear from those witnesses placing Nolan alive at 6 after your clients had left the island, I feel that the investigation would take a different turn. In any event, we do not want to pile on any individuals suffering if they are in fact innocent. That's not what I want. I want the truth, as I believe you do too.
Well, of course I do. I'll be happy to reach out to them and at least ask them. Best I can do.
That said, gentlemen, I appreciate you coming on with us, and I invite you back to answer even more questions.